like a dictator. He and Maduro moving together. They bring down Delcy Rodriguez and be citizens, oh they crying tears.
Nah, boy.
They want the US to sanction we, cause more poverty. They're doing we what they want, so let me put out there. We not voting, them fucking CNN. We not voting, them fucking CNN. King Rowley, King Imbert, King Forrest, King John, living high, dictatorship style. Putting tears in the poor people's eyes. We not voting, them fucking CNN. We not voting, them fucking CNN.
For them out, they go Martin West. For them out, they go Martin East. For them out, San Fernando West. St. John's West, for Spain North. For them out, for them out, for them out, for them out, for them out.
Stuart Young, minister of everything. He is the king of lying. Don't talk about the buck Imbert, bumping up big gum like an old goat.
Talk too much.
Don't talk about Al Rawi, he lacking integrity. 23 million in rent, and we can't get up. Said we not voting, them fucking CNN. We not voting, them fucking CNN. King Rowley, King Imbert, King Forrest, King Scott, living high, dictatorship style. Putting tears in the poor people's eyes. We not voting, them fucking CNN. We not voting, them fucking CNN. Well, this is your Indian political warrior, massive go sign. Take it in your liver.
For them out, they go Martin West. For them out, they go Martin East. For them out, San Fernando West. St. John's West, for Spain North. For them out, for them out, for them out, for them out, for them out.
BNM is the stalwarts of mafia, bubble and corruption. Home of them big liars, big thieves of millions of dollars. Don't trust none of them, them is the real problem. They're doing me what they want, so let me vote of them. We not voting, them fucking CNN. We not voting, them fucking CNN. King Rowley, King Imbert, King Forrest, King Scott, living high, dictatorship style. Putting tears in the poor people's eyes. We not voting, them fucking CNN. We not voting, them fucking CNN.
For them out, they go Martin West. For them out, they go Martin East. For them out, San Fernando West. St. John's West, for Spain North. For them out, for them out, for them out, for them out, for them out.
Rowley, acting like a dictator.
No, light of my people. Too much of one thing, good for nothing. Too much of good thing, never enough. I don't know why my black people cannot see. No party never care about we. Every election we so devoted. How we love up the PNM. As soon as election come and go, is only problem after problem. How could we cope? Man lost their work, I ain't seeing no solution. Every time PNM come in power, it takes a toll on black man. I don't want to sound like a racist, but this is what I can see. They just take care of the race, cause they damn well know they have up Eric Williams. Tell him the party found him, PNM needed immediate attention. Ring me bell, wake up mother, cause it's not what it used to be. Ring my bell, ring my bell.
Yes, indeed, of course. Welcome back. Is it all right now?
Yes, Mr. Lennox.
You're back in talk.
Good night again, Mr. Lennox.
All right, okay. But
You're back online. You're back online.
All right, great. Very important. All right, thank you. So we'll continue.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Yes. Yes, indeed. Of course, people are very, very, very concerned about, of course, the fact that we had some technical difficulty. I tried, of course, to do it twice, the program, so that you have a smoother transition or a smooth, of course, should I say, augmenting or renewal or booting, but it did not happen. I had, of course, to cut off all entirely and then, of course, resurface. But, of course, I just got the okay that things are all right. Let's hear, of course, the fact that Africans in particular, and this government is one that is accused of pseudo-racism, meaning that they use their own race to climb upon like crab in a barrel. And when they get there, they, of course, spit on the people. That is perfidious, people.
I ring my bell down there. I ring my bell, ring my bell. I ring my bell down there. This thing is becoming out of hand. This time, this damn nonsense stop. If you don't sing a PNM song, from Skinner Park you'll be dropped. Calypsonian could have sing what they want. We were the spokesman for the people. Eric Duffy, Chambers Duncy. When Kamala drunk, how she likes to pee. Calypsonian, no, that's no way to go. Too much happening in we country. All this killing spree, young woman bodies, but only about PNM you could sing. All them so wrong thing. I hear in a word from you. I want to ring me bell. Wake up, Mother Castle. Every Monday she preach on WAC radio and is the biggest critic of Calypso.
Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good. Welcome to the. Welcome to the corridor. Pleasant good night. Yes, indeed. We lost that one, of course. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Good night. Good night, sir.
Yes, good night. Good night. Well, welcome. Good night.
Yes. I hear you.
Right. Good. Great.
Yeah. What I'm going to talk is about. Yeah. Good night to you too. Yeah. I'm going to tell you something about this crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago. Right. We talking about moving highs, doing this, moving this one, moving that one. All them problem is not the problem, you know. Crime done. Because I will tell you something. If you go St. Benedict and you bless a motor car, and then you give the devil to drive it, you feel nothing bad will happen. The PM could lose the next election because crime is a thing that they dwell in because they come and using sign language. They know so long the PM in power, the criminal will have the day. Because Griffith say don't give them contract and these kind of thing, and Griffith started crying. So you see, the whole problem we have here is not higher, is not Al-Rawi, is not anybody is to say with Shampa or anybody. The whole problem is just remove Rowley from office. And the problem solved. If he remained there, we had coming out of crime and the country going on in a pit. Because this man, whatsoever, and he bold-faced with it, because if you are believing, he's forcing you to believe he's lying. You understand? So we have a serious problem here. We have to do something about this sooner or later. Otherwise, brother man, we'll be a failed nation because everything gone through and nothing will come again if this man remains in everybody nice in Trinidad and Tobago. Good night, sir. I'll listen off the air.
I want to tell you, my friend, go to the top of the class. go to the top of the class because you have, of course, identified very succinctly, poignantly, and, of course, monolithically what the problem is. To get rid of the crime, you must get rid of Rowley and his bunch. And, of course, it is not now. It is not now a saying of those who may be opposed to the PNM per se. PNM activists as well, and spokespersons and apologists for the PNM are talking about Selwyn Kojo. He was in night. I'm going to bring it for you tomorrow. Don't get me vexed, you know. You sycophants, and saying that you're contemplating where do and what else. That is a figment of your imagination imposed by Rowley and they, or who put you in a state of what I consider to be not just ambivalence, but ambiguity. Remember, an earlier caller talked about a blind man and a sighted person. And the blind person said that they could see on a PNM program, they could see what Rowley is doing, the evil. And if you listen and look at the ground report, oh, of course, we get from, well, this is the time has reached for calls, so I will entertain. A pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. Oh,
Let me see how fast I could explain something here. Are you hearing me clearly?
Loud and clear, my dear.
Are you hearing me clearly, Lennox?
Yes, loud and clear. Look, I'm giving you the thumbs up, yes.
All right. So we listened to Arnold Roberts. He explained things clearly. The drugs that they find near the vessel ain't have no link with that vessel. Well, I want to tell the citizens something. The area that vessel leave by Maracaibo, Lake Maracaibo to be exact, in Paguana complex is a refinery, is a whole complex with refineries. And if you listen to Annie Roberts, he tell you Amway. Now, if you had the map up, I would have show you exactly where the vessel leaves.
I'll get it tomorrow.
But I will still give direction. It leaves the refinery in Paguana. The name of the refinery is Amway.
Right.
All right. The name of the refinery is Amway. There's 3 refineries there in Paguana, and it went out into Lake Maracaibo, then into the Gulf of Venezuela, and then the Caribbean Sea. And when you reach out in the Caribbean Sea, right there is Aruba. So they lie. They want it because when it passed between Aruba now on the north coast of Venezuela, and, you know, it passed through there, is a distance from Toco to Tobago. So it would show that, you know, it leaves Aruba. So that's a whole lie. That's how they lie when the fuel leave and they tell you go for yourself. Yes. The area they send the fuel in Venezuela is Palito refinery. The fuel that left here in 2020. So it's opposite Curacao. So you would accept the in Venezuela on the north coast. So that vessel leave the northern coast of Venezuela, come to the east coast, and was coming here. And I strongly believe, this is my belief, it's trade and losses way how they're taken of the transponders can, you know, be detected. As I told you all many months ago, these ships are ghosts, everything. I believe that drugs linked with that. Why not? Okay? Yes. The FARC in the borderline there with Maracaibo and Colombia. That is the drug toll and the highway to everything. Right? So let Rowley and them fool all. When you put the pieces together, if you look at the US, right there is the drug toll. Also, in Amway, there, that borderline there with Colombia, they do a lot of contraband with gasoline. And, you know, people leave Colombia and they buy not drugs, but the gas. And they do plenty contraband going to Colombia through dirt roads, tracks in the mountains, It's really terrible. That's a whole contraband area and a very dangerous border. So we watching.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
So
Well,
then
of
us
course,
have a good night.
yes, thank you very much, of course. And as I said this morning, we have some very informed, very educated, edified, and of course, willing to share their information with us. Tomorrow, of course, I will get a particular map so that we have a sense, and of course, we're going to link that with what Anil Roberts would have disclosed. And I think, of course, that is the most credible and the most logical assessment of the situation, and the fact that the government has studiously, almost academically, almost meticulously avoided mentioning even Venezuela, and any part of Venezuela must be of concern. But as we know, when Rowley tell you to jump, you stand up. If he tell you to open your eyes, well, you know you have to close it at whatever risk, simply because these people are absolutely dangerous, evil, wicked, and of course are unable to manage their affairs. But what they certainly are unadulteratedly corrupt. They are criminals, and they have captured it. And as the caller rightly said, to eliminate our worries, to rid of Rowley and the PNM, and we can only do so through the electoral process, what I consider to be the legal and constitutional processes enshrined not only in our constitution, but in our, of course, representation of the People's Act, the integrity in public life, and a number of other pieces of legislation, including, of course, the Larceny Act, because they are total kleptocrats, and they must be, of course, be made to pay for what they have done criminally. And blue lights and silver bracelets must be an important ingredient in getting rid, on a sustained basis, that kind of maladministration, that kind of abuse of office, that kind of misbehavior in office, that kind of transgression against the rule of law, believing that somehow as Prime Minister and as government, they have no consequences. There's no consequences for them. But as I was saying earlier, Heinz has visited, of course, I got a call. Heinz has visited George Street. I wonder why. Because they know that the torrent of sustainable transformation is about, of course, to settle down inside of that area, and to, of course, not allow them to benefit from crime and criminality, and to say that they are the ones that solve something with $100 million. All we have to do is to go in there and talk to the young people and provide a vision and the proximity to Port of Spain, so that they can develop their own businesses and so on. That is where we are going. And I want to tell these young people, I am extremely elated for you. And I am very, 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 of course, conscious of my responsibility and those who we have put together in order to, of course, deliver. And I tell you, it will be a transformatory period for the quality of life and standard of living. And no one can have excuses to, of course, generate a law enforcement cadre by pretending that you have to add more police and more policing in order to solve the problem. No, it was Rowley who said very glibly and very instant, the same Heinz, that narcoleptic individual, that sleepy Minister of National Security, totally, he was sent to Halifax in, of course, the United States to do what? To observe, because they have a similar population size and a less, of course, manpower. But clearly, this dunderhead, this rockhead has learned nothing. Because if it is, you were saying that you sent him there to observe what is happening, and they have less manpower in terms of police officers. How come you increase it by 1,000? No, you want to set up a police state. You want to set up a true dictatorship. You want to, of course, remain in office and, of course, do what you have done to the people without rapist and pedophile must be subjected to the criminal law and, of course, pay the price irregardless, because this is Trinidad and Tobago. He cannot believe that he could, of course, absolve people like the man with the, not just the fake oil, which of course is him and his friend, but of course we are talking about the man who, of course, said he was going to turn diesel to clean fuel. I'm talking about Malcolm Jones, and then take the matter out of office because he is prime minister. This is not a dictatorship. This is a democracy, government by the people, of the people, and for the people. Let's listen to Alan Roberts as he gives his analytical and, of course, confirmed by our, what I consider to be our expert on Venezuela earlier.
Them calling country name without evidence, without any information, just to give a false narrative. All of a sudden, on the oil spill, media release unsigned by any minister or permanent secretary or anybody, just a media release on the letterhead of the Ministry of National Security starts to give us some little tidbits about the oil spill, but really.
Yeah, yes, indeed. He will continue, of course, to treat with this matter. We continue to get this.
Hold on, man. And the transponder was turned off. And then a reporter in Venezuela received information and the course that the vessel took. And Stuart Smallpin Young and Parrier Newman George Parrier put out a press release. Stuart Smallpin Young saying it was St. Eustace's, and they had a sanction clause that was put in 17 days after the contract was already consummated. Remember all that? They call St. Eustace's, they call Aruba, they call all kind of names. The Dutch government had to say, listen, we don't know.
Yes, indeed, of course. Let's go straight to the lines. We promised that around this time we will entertain, of course. Pleasant good night. Welcome. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
I want to say this. We would back pay.
That is an appropriate.
Now we have a vessel that is spewing and spilling oil, the quantum of which we have no idea. Oil has now entered Grenada sovereign waters, and we have a Ministry of National Security headed by Fitzgerald, a Talbot, Pomsite, ride a horse with an 8-year-old boy and fall asleep standing up behind, giving out a press release that says nothing but tries to throw us in a direction without facts, calling Guyana and Aruba name. But when you research site called Bellingcat, and they produced this article that I'm going to quote from you all, and it's under the heading, Identifying the Mystery Vessel at the Site of Trinidad and Tobago's National Emergency Oil Spill. On February 7, 2024, a mystery vessel began leaking oil and ran aground on a reef off the coast of Tobago. The resulting spill coated beaches, wildlife, and so on, right? Dive teams and an autonomous submersible have found the name for the vessel, the Gulfstream. No engine, no registration. It's just a floating barge that needs something to pull it. Why do you do that? It's been in operation over 50 years. Who is using this? Why are they using it? It's very surreptitious. It reeks of skullduggery. But that's how they're going to identify it, because with a vessel without an engine, you have to have things to tie it up, connect it, keep it floating straight, upright, make sure it don't list and so on. So they continue, the Bellingcat. These pigeonholes, that's what they're talking about. They identify the Gulf Stream by its shape, very scientific satellite imagery underwater. They use all sorts of sources. But they're pigeonholes that you connect the vessel to the tugboat with to pull it straight and to keep it going, right? These pigeonholes are an unusual feature, right? Because they're typically not present on self-powered ships. But according to the site, the Marlin, so this site says that specific Gulf Stream has been married to a tugboat called the Marlin. Make signing, say the Coast Guard say that they find a tugboat called the Creed, right? We don't know whether it's rocky or real. According to the site, the Marlin was married to a 449-foot, 60,000 barrel double-hulled barge, the Gulfstream. And they continue. Marlin was sold in 2012 and purchased by San Martin Group Limited, a Panamanian company. In 2014, AIS data shows that the vessel began regularly visiting petroleum ports in Venezuela. Equasis records only show the sale of the Marlin because the unpowered barges are not registered in.
We have a call, of course, on the phone itself, so I will interrupt in order to, of course, take this call. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Pleasant good night, Mr. The WhatsApp was bringing up too much.
All right.
What I am saying is we will get the back pay, but we will lose our job.
Yes, I heard it. I heard it.
But I want to tell the Prime Minister that he will get the 80,000, but we will try. PNM people, if Rowley and all tell them that the country going good, they go back to them and tell them it's going bad. First the brainwash.
Yeah, you, my friend. But that is stupidity, of course. That's essence of stupidity. Yes, yes.
All right, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, indeed, my friend. So, of course, people are finding ways and means, of course, to express themselves and to, of course, make certain that people comprehend what is being said. That is the level of animosity. That is the level of what I consider to be anathema that the population has against this administration. And I've always said that if there's any one person that is hated in this country, is Rowley, and of course his government in second place. But of course, as far as prime ministers are concerned, well, he easily is a long distance from any seconder as far as hatred by the people is concerned. This man is totally despicable. He's evil and wicked, and of course pretends to be, of course, some kind of demi-devil. I almost say a whole devil, or is it a whole ass? Whatever it is, the fact is that he's unfit for government.
The same way as mentioned earlier. However, after the sale date, the vessels were also captured by imagery, so they're still married, even though you don't have to say what it pulling to a barge Gulfstream, as the image from a petroleum port in Maracaibo, Venezuela on March 8, 2015. Bellingcat followed the Marlin Gulfstream using AIS data and satellite imagery until October 17, 2020, when it transmitted its last AIS position at the Astenave shipyard. Take a guess where? In Amway, Venezuela. Satellite shows that the barge remained at Astenave for some time. That's in Venezuela. On February 18, 2021, Astenave posted an image on Instagram showing the tug Marlin and the stern of the Gulfstream, the one that overturned and killing all of our waters, our reefs and everything, positioning of the vessel under coupling mode. On March 23, 2021, the owners of the Marlin Gulfstream San Martin Group Limited sold the vessels to another Panamanian company, Star Goods Petroleum SA, which was registered in 2014. For over a year, the vessel remained at the Astenave port in Venezuela. You all are calling people named Guyana, Aruba. How come you didn't call Venezuela? The shipyard, according to Planet Labs, PBC, and Google Earth, from the dry dock in Astenave, Venezuela. For over a year, right? There are reasons why a vessel would not transmit AIS signals. One common reason is to obscure the origin activity involving hundreds of thousands of tons of oil. Right? Ships in this so-called ghost fleet are sometimes used to transport oil from Iran and Venezuela. In 2022, the Financial Times reported that a number of ships that have gone dark to operate in ghost fleets has tripled since 2019. Operating under the radar, these vessels are frequently poorly maintained. Reuters, now look at information, not no Fitzgerald Hines Pomsite unsigned media release with speculation and calling country name. Reuters reported last year, 2023, that more than half of Venezuela's state-owned fleet of oil tankers are so run down that they should be immediately repaired or taken out of service. Reuters also reported the typical lifespan of a tanker is 30 years. As of 2014, the Marlin and the Gulfstream have been in service for 50 years and 48 years respectively. The Gulfstream barge has a unique shape, and then they show you how they know that that's the Gulfstream. They show you all the pictures. They go into great detail. Star Goods Petroleum SA does not have an online presence, and its Panamanian registration documents contain no contact information. Remember, we all have a Cobostan or Ocean Stem with a company that they couldn't find the office, Bridgman's, and Mark Bassan, before he went and take big salary to keep quiet and talk about football, went and was looking for Bridgman's. Doesn't this all sound very, very familiar? Is it coincidence that this is the same PNM, the same Keith Rowley government? So they have no registration documents, they contain no contact information. Bellingcat was able to locate the LinkedIn page of the company's executive vice president. He did not immediately reply to a request for comment. Rowley, Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines, Stuart Smallpin Young, Newman George, y'all already went during COVID, during sanctions. There was Delsey Gate when Delsey landed here exactly at the same time that vessel was in Pointe-à-Pitre. It came from Europe, marked as Shell, changed to Trafigura. Then the PDVSA officials came and met with Rowley faced up during COVID. They lied that it was about hampers for Venezuelan migrants. And we saw when I asked Franklin Khan later on how much in the month of April 2020 fuel came in that same system which we saw took it to Venezuela and offloaded it in Venezuela. Trafigura to ES Euro shipping, which is Wilmer Ruperti Maduro to Wilmer Ruperti Maduro. April 2020. Then we saw divers dying in a pipe, decommissioned. Why they were recommissioning that pipe? To do what? And the divers were left there to die. Inexplicable treatment, inexplicable decisions to leave them under there to die. And now we see in Tobago destroying our environment and going to damage even Grenada. A vessel that how it reached, where it reached, why the Coast Guard didn't know, why it's moving on without power, why it's unregistered, overturned, where the crew, where the tugboat, whose oil it is, where is the oil, what's the forensics on the oil to tell us where that oil came from. This all happening under the same PNM, the same Rowley, the same Smallpin, the same Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines. All you find is a PNM calling country name without evidence just to give a false narrative. All of a sudden, on the oil spill, media release unsigned by any minister or permanent secretary or anybody, just a media release on the letterhead of the Ministry of National Security starts to give us some little tidbits about the oil spill, but really no information whatsoever. But they state categorically that they found about the name of that specific tugboat because evidence is still being gathered and other people are investigating. But they tried to say that it was bound for Guyana. Just so they call Guyana. Then they say they get pictures from Aruba. What does this remind you of? Does it remind you when the U.S. Coast Guard was in the sea, the Caribbean Sea, and there was a vessel that left Pointe-à-Pitre with some fuel under sanctions from the U.S. government, and the transponder was turned off, And then a reporter in Venezuela received information and the course that the vessel took, and Stuart Smallpin Young and Paria Newman, George Paria.
Yes, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's exercise. I trust that you were well informed. And, of course, you have an opportunity to, of course, replay, because I know that you will keep it in your archives as to the details. More and much more details than that of the government is prepared, and the aversion of mentioning Venezuela is conspicuous, too conspicuous not to be included in the what I call the matrix that they would normally create. And of course, enough evidence to vote the tails out. Yes, indeed. Greed. An attempt, of course, to further get resources to finish Balizé House. No, they must get out of evil, and never again. PNM must not survive. Have a wonderful rest of the night. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow morning on the ground report. My apology for, of course, the break in transmission, but it was due to circumstances beyond my control. Have a wonderful and beautiful rest of the night. And I'm sure that you will adhere to the new rules or the new position that we would have taken from 9:30 thereabout. We will take calls. Have a wonderful and beautiful rest of the night. Remember, Andy is still in need of support. So please, when you are expressing your sympathy, make a pledge financially. See you tomorrow night. God bless. Bye-bye.
If it is the time is now that change should come about.